welcome to the afrimind interview series. My name is Sakina, and today we'll be interviewing Nzube Ufodike from Amoo Venture Capital Advisory. He is the director of Amoo, and the company started in 2009. Today it's growing really rapidly, and we'd like to find out more about what they think about venture capital in general and technology space, both in emerging markets and in Europe. Hope you enjoy. So what do you think are the biggest challenges for the tech industry today in emerging markets, and what can be done to overcome them?
Some of the biggest challenges will revolve around creating a killer product, I feel. Some tech companies, I mean, this happened more so before, but I think it's dying down, thankfully, focused on creating solutions for Silicon Valley types or London folks, whereas you're thinking, okay, look, you're in a homegrown market, you've got your audience, which you know better than anybody else around the world. Why create a product for people in their part of the world as opposed to a local solution? So that was a big problem. You know, people thinking, well, I need to have this big, ideal ticketing service for people going to festivals, but how many people in Nigeria go to festivals? You know, so realistic problems within the context of where you live, I feel should be addressed. So that's one of the challenges. Access to funding, obviously, goes without saying, that's still a major challenge. Finding teams that are putting together a team that has all the core competencies. I know a few entrepreneurs that have struggled with building teams, and some have actually had to recruit from international talent pools. You know, we've had to recruit from the US or from London, for instance, for a Nigerian startup. So that's a challenge. But I feel there are more opportunities. I mean, the growing middle class, the strong mobile penetration, things like that support innovation.
What's the most common advice given the challenges that people are facing in both the emerging markets? I mean, there are different problems, but what kind of advice are you giving to your portfolio companies?
The main advice revolves around sort of building communities and user groups. So when you have an idea, it's good to go as far as you can with getting those early adopters onto your platform. This is if it's a B2C. Get those early adopters onto your platform. Even in the B2B space, you can still get companies on that would give you feedback that you can then create iterations of your product with before you start looking to tap into funding pools or high networks, etc. I think too many people start off thinking they need to raise money as opposed to, okay, let me try and solve a problem. Once you have the customers that are paying for your product, that's enough proof that there is a market. Even if it's 20 naira or 20 rands or what, you know, you need to get people to start paying. Have a business model that shows there is a bottom line somewhere. The idea that you can build a Facebook, Twitter type solution where the revenue stream isn't clearly defined until 2-3 years down the line in Africa is not realistic, and it's not even one that is not one that I encourage. I think people should think very early on about how they build a business.
There's a lack of clear policy direction and effective regulations in the emerging markets. So do you agree that these have been very detrimental to your operations of entrepreneurship? And, you know, in general, what are your thoughts about policies in Africa and their relationships with entrepreneurship?
I think there's certainly room for them to become a lot more supportive. How the policymakers can push these through or who they need to be speaking to is really above my pay grade. But I think getting more business or private sector leaders and captains of industry involved in that conversation would be a good thing. So Africa is in a fortunate position now to have several successful businessmen and women who have succeeded in the private sector. These are people that can or should be speaking to the government about what they see on the ground, because they're running businesses that have real contacts with the man and the woman on the ground. So I think those conversations should be held in the private sector, people that have operations on the ground. And that way you can create a more robust policy that can nurture the ecosystem. In the UK, for instance, you have things like catapult centres, which the UKTI recently announced. These are innovation hubs that are heavily subsidized by the government. It's similar to the Fraunhofer Institutes, the models in Germany, where you have a lot of capital put into developing infrastructure that would nurture and sustain innovation. So those models could be borrowed, but I would say that maybe some more local models can be created as well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Nzube.
Thank you.